So Mary, this program did start as a voluntary program.
Right.
And then after you came back with your report to the legislature, that it was quite a success. I
Yes,
take it,
it was quite a success, and it's something that could be done on a statewide basis. Of course, the Voluntary Act provided a 12-cent cubic yard tipping fee at landfills to fund low-interest business loans, what we call tonnage grants to municipalities, county planning programs, the state planning and administrative programs. So there was some funds that were provided, and then when we came back to the legislature and said, you know, we really should make this mandatory, and this you can manage waste by having source separation and curbside collection programs. And so we made that recommendation in 1984. Well, it took the legislature 3 years to get the message. And of course, when you're going mandatory, it's a little bit more, you know, and there were questions by industry, the recycling industry, particularly the scrap dealers and stuff, were afraid that the government was going to come in and take over their businesses, or you know, unfairly compete against their businesses. So, you know, but we involved all these people in the process. And finally, in 1987, as the landfill crisis continued to increase even more and more landfills were shut down, in was it October of 1987, I think? I forget the exact date, but it was in 1987 they passed the mandatory statewide recycling act, increased the funding for it, and I guess the rest is history.
I guess it is. Well, it has been quite a success. Gene, early on in recycling in the state, you were involved with a forum, a group that got together and talked about recycling issues and helped this new industry or this new operation or program get going. And there were some industry members as well as members from the public from towns. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of those people? I remember there was a gentleman named Fred Schmidt, for example, who was instrumental early on. Yeah.
Yes, Fred Schmidt certainly played a major role in getting recycling going in all the towns and other communities.
And where was he from, Fred? Who did he represent?
He worked for Garden State Paper Company.
Okay, very good. And then there was another gentleman too you mentioned.
Bob Donovan.
Yeah, and he was from Owens, Illinois. I believe.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And what did Owens, Illinois do? Were they recycling?
Glass.
Glass, okay.
They did
all
glass recycling. But Bob and Fred were very instrumental in bringing industry into the fold and convincing them that this was the right way to go, and that the state was not going to harm their businesses. Mm-hmm. Fred was particular because he worked for a company, Garden State Paper was, it started, what was his name? I can't think of his name.
And
he
I
owned a
know
lot
it
of
as
papers
well as
in New Jersey, but
Dick Scudder.
Dick Scudder.
Oh, that's right.
Right, Dick Scudder.
The owner of the Newark News or Star Ledger.
Started
right?
newspaper recycling. Yeah. In a blender in his home.
Wow.
and they were the largest user of old newsprint for newsprint, and and Fred worked for them, and of course he certainly had the blessing of his company to try to expand recycling.
An interesting historical fact, and another reason why I guess recycling did have a good reason to take hold in New Jersey, where there was this paper mill.
Well, we had paper mills. We had
and
4 or 5. Yeah, 4 or 5 paper mills, and we had glass. We had the glass industry, which we really don't have anymore
in
today.
South Jersey, yeah.
But we had a lot of glass plants as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Bob Donovan worked for Owens, Illinois.
Which took glass.
Took glass, right. Mm-hmm. And of course, fought against the bottle bill.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah,
that was a key issue, was the bottle bill. And that was sort of a sore point with the environmentalists. Mm-hmm. They wanted a bottle bill included, which is deposits on containers as part of the legislation. But there was no way we were going to get the program through if we put that in there, because it was not supported by many of the industries who did support the statewide recycling program, including the supermarkets. Mm-hmm. They were part of the New Jersey Recycle Forum and that coalition. Mm-hmm. and so we never did put a bottle bill in New Jersey's law.
Now, the New Jersey Recycling Forum, over the years, they got things going and got industry and the public sector together and handled recycling issues. And over time, that gave way to another association, New Jersey ANJAR, Association of New Jersey Recyclers. Is that correct? Which
right.
continues today and does similar work, and also has a certification program for municipal and county recyclers.
Right, which is run by Rutgers University.
At Rutgers
Yeah.
University.
And that was the other thing. We did a lot of things to do the education process, and one of the things we started was working with Rutgers University to develop programs on recycling and what was needed to become a recycling coordinator. And that eventually led to the ANJAR program of getting a certification for county recyclers and municipal officials who were designated the recycling coordinator for their towns.
Great. Now, I said at the top that New Jersey sort of set the pace and the example for other states. And correct me if that's not true, or add to it if you'd like, Mary. We did service.
Oh no, that's very true, because I often was invited by other states to come and speak about the program, and I did work with the state of Pennsylvania to help them write a law, but I don't think they ever really got into it like New Jersey did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was other. I spoke in Minnesota, Texas, Illinois, many different states about the program. I even went to Australia. They were very interested in New Jersey's recycling program. And I was invited by the EPA of Australia to speak on recycling.
Well, looking back now, what do you think were your individually and maybe collectively, what were your biggest accomplishments with this program with recycling?
Well, to me, it was wonderful to be on the ground floor of introducing a new program, a new statewide program, and writing a plan and everything. And often, you know, in government, you write these plans and everything, and they go nowhere. Mm-hmm. And but to see it actually come to fruition and still be something today, and still a statewide program today. I mean, I live in a community now. I live in one of these 55 and older communities, and I see all these blue. Today is recycling day, pickup day. Somerset County picks up our stuff, and all these blue barrels are out. And I think, I had something to do with that.
Jean, you must feel a similar sense of accomplishment at what you've seen. And tell me, is there anything that stands out in your mind looking back over the years that makes you feel good about this? Or you have any misgivings, or is there any...
Oh, no, it's a feeling of real accomplishment. I mean, we were on the ground floor, and we were really quite influential. We were the first people, I think, who collected recyclables at the curb instead of having them brought to a recycling center.
And you're both...
Yeah, Montclair was definitely Jean was very instrumental in developing that program, but Montclair was definitely an innovator and a model for us when we started the statewide program, and a model for many other municipalities.
Now there's there's going to be a celebration of the anniversary next week. Do you want to tell me a little bit about that, where that's going to take place and what it's going to be?
I think it's taking place at Stockton State College, and that's next Tuesday, April 24th, of course, around Earth Day, so it's very appropriate, and to commemorate the passage of the mandatory statewide recycling act.
Okay. And who was the governor when that was signed?
Governor Burns signed the voluntary act, and Governor Kane signed the mandatory act.
Okay, so Governor Burns, a Democrat, got it rolling, and Governor Kane,
said,
a Republican,
go with it.
Kept going with it. All right.
Governor Kane was very, very supportive of our of the program. Very supportive.
And the DEP today continues that support. I know that the commissioner has been invited to this program next week and has had good things to say about recycling, and the current administration, the Christie administration, is still supporting recycling. And over the years, I guess the other thing that keeps it rolling is the fact that the tonnage grants that Jean referred to earlier, towns are rewarded by their success, by the amount of recycling they do. They get a share of that pie, and it comes back to them and helps them support the programs.
I'm not sure if the funding is still there though, because are they still collecting the money today?
yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a little hiccup there for a couple of years, but it got rolling.
I knew there
again.
were some problems, but I've been out of state government for 10 years now, so I don't get to follow all the details anymore. But yeah, and that's an incentive. But I think one of the biggest incentives is
saving money.
Saving
or
money
disposing
from right,
of
and not having
garbage.
to build landfills
Yeah.
to dispose of it, which is a waste of resources. It's a waste of energy. There's significant energy that is embedded in materials once they are manufactured, and you throw all that out when you landfill.
Well, we want to thank both of you ladies for what you've done and the contributions you've made, and for sitting down and talking with us today. And we will have at least several other future videos on this subject coming up, in which we'll talk to other folks in the private sector and public sector, and examine some of the changes that have happened over the years from recycling, and how technologies played a role in some materials that are now being recycled or plan to be recycled, which weren't in the very beginning when
Right.
you folks were involved.
Right.
So thanks again.